Yo, what is up guys? Back again with your boy KT, and you already know the name that's running the game. Now before we even start the video, if you guys did not see the previous post I did yesterday, you guys don't even gotta watch it, because I'm going to tell you right now, I do have some merchandise available. I have an online website available, got a t-shirt for sale, got some decals for sale, and I'm still working on things as they come, you know. So this is just the beginning. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out, go ahead and click the link down below to my website and, you know, show me the love, show me the support. I really appreciate you guys. But anyways, as for this video, what I'm going to be doing, I'm still working on the truck. Now, after crashing the truck, after lowering the truck, there's still more work to be done on it. So whenever you do lower a rear wheel drive vehicle, specifically with the solid rear axle, that pinion is going to change. Whenever you do lower a vehicle, that pinion is going to move upwards. And then if you raise the vehicle, that pinion is most likely going to move downwards. And if you guys don't know what the pinion is what connects to the drive shaft, and then the drive shaft goes into the transmission. So if that pinion moves upward, you create like a angle, and then if you move it downwards, it creates more of a V. You always want to have the perfect angle. The perfect angle for many vehicles, they may change, but let's just say it's 2 degrees. That's really going to get you where you're supposed to be at. If you have it more than 2 degrees, like let's say for example that pinion moves upwards and creates an A angle, most likely you're going to get some vibrations, and that U joint right there on the drive shaft is most likely going to break. So that's going to leave you stranded on the road, and that's not the right thing you want to have. Now, whenever you're drag racing or specific racing vehicles, they do change that angle in order to get a bit more bite out of the tires. So if you guys want to go ahead and research that, I do recommend it, you know, just throw in a Google search and you'll find more information on it. But really, as a street vehicle, I need to go ahead and get a 2-degree angle on it. As of now, as you guys will see in the video, that pinion did move up and moving the drive shaft, so creating like a if you would. It's supposed to be a little bit of a V. But of course, I'm going to show you guys in the video. So along with changing the pinion angle, I do need to change the bump stops, just because from factory, at a factory ride height, they do take into the account how much the axle should have as far as for travel whenever you do hit a bump or what have you. So I need to go ahead and get that corrected, because I did lower the truck. Let's just go ahead and put in that work. So without taking any more time, let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, today going to be working on the Harley truck. Now if you guys saw my previous videos, I did lower the truck about 1 inch in the front and 3 inches in the rear. Already the Harley does have a 1 inch drop from factory. The Lightning and the Harley trucks were like that. In reality, I did a 1.3, but on a normal F-150 it would be a 2.4. The way I did it in the front was with the Beltec springs. That's the only thing I changed out. As far as getting it lower, I did change other pieces out if you guys want to watch that video. For the rear, I did lower it using Beltec hangers, or not the hangers, the shackles. That one is on the first hole. For the other side of the leaf spring, I did put on the 2-inch lowering hanger. I don't know if you guys could see it. There, you guys could see it right there. But like I said, you guys could see that on my other video. But a thing that resulted from lowering the truck is I did change the pinion angle. You guys see it? It's kind of tilting upwards and the axle is going downwards on it. That's not really what you want. You want a 2-degree bend on the pinion angle, and right there, you know, it's opposite. So basically, if I could kind of explain this, as of right now, if on the pinion angle, well, on the front of the pinion and on the drive shaft, technically it's going down this way and down that way. So it's kind of making like an A. If you guys could kind of follow what I'm saying, kind of making an A. You want to see a V, like in between there.
You don't want it to look like that. What I'm going to do is install some shims on the actual leaf spring. I bought the 4-degree shim and the 6-degree shim because I was kind of unsure of which one I would need. And to be quite honest, I'm kind of unsure on how to measure this pinion angle, but I know it should not be looking like that. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, to be quite honest. Now from factory on these leaf springs, they do have a 2-degree pinion shim on there. I need to take that out and install the 4 or the 6. And as you guys can see right there, my bump stop for the axle is completely disintegrated because I didn't even chop them. And then on the driver's side here, you can see that bump stop. It needs to be chopped, but I'm not going to chop it. I bought some aftermarket bump stops, and that should clear our clearance issue with the axle hitting. Alright, so first thing I gotta do, I gotta loosen up these wheels, jack it up, put some jack stands on the frame so we could have the rear axle hanging, and then we'll move on to undoing the leaf springs and those bump stops and get this thing ready to cruise. Now of course on the front wheels, since the emergency brake doesn't affect it, you're going to want to put something so it prevents the car from rolling forward or backwards, depending how you're working. In my case, from rolling backwards. So just go and put something behind the wheels to prevent that.
Chuki got the sauce, bitch.
So the rear is completely jacked up. I have it sitting on some stands and a little bit of weight lifted on the axle. Now here's the 2-degree shim I was talking about here in the bottom. That supposedly is the 2-degree shim that came on the 03 F-150s. It is kind of pitched. I don't know how well you guys could tell, but even I had a hard time looking at it. But it is pitched, and that does look to be about 2 degrees comparing to the other shims I have. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change out the bump stops. Now like I said, this one is completely gone. You guys see it's supposed to be right there. It's just rubbing up on the axle. It's all kind of just been sitting on there. To take off the bump stop, there is a nut on the top side of the rail, so it's kind of like a C. And then on the inside, on the other side, there's like a 15mm nut that needs to come off. I don't know if you guys could see the driver's side one. There's the nut right there, and then there's the bump stop. But it's basically the same on this side as well, but we're just viewing it differently. So I'm going to go ahead and try to take that one off. And then here's the driver's side bump stop. Take this one out as well. It's just been sitting on the axle, to be honest. Alright, so here's the bump stops right here. The passenger one is completely gone, as you guys could tell. And the driver one, you could tell it's just been hitting the axle, just riding on the axle and just disintegrating. These are old. I'm pretty sure these are the original ones from the factory. But you do have this plate that sits on the frame that kind of spreads the impact, so if it does get hit, you're not just hitting the frame first of all. You will notice it will have some grease on there. That's just to prevent rust from the factory. But we're going to go ahead and reuse these plates for the new bump stops. Here's the new bump stops going to be using. They're from Hotchkiss. If you guys want to get that part number. They were very cheap. I don't remember exactly how much I paid, but they're pretty cheap. So you guys see the factory one, how much shorter it's going to be. These are 1.5 inches, so hopefully it'll allow enough travel. If not, I may have to go to an 1-inch bump stop, but we'll see about that. But hopefully I'll be safe with this and it allows enough travel on there. But same thing, it's just remove and replace. Take the nut off, take the lock washer, put the plate up there, put the bump stop on. And so pretty simple. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do right now. very small, and I think these are going to work though. And then here's the driver's side as well. Next, what I'm going to go ahead and do, I gotta take off these shocks, or just take it off where it's connected at the axle right there. After you take that off, loosen up the leaf springs, loosen up on both sides, and then on one side I'm going to take it off completely, so I have some room to, you know, take apart this other 2-degree shim that is in here, so I can put in the 4-degree shim, then put it all together and see how it looks once it's sitting on the ground. I really think the 6-degree is going to be a bit too much, but who knows, we'll see how it all looks together. Let's go ahead and get started on just taking off the struts, and then we'll get started on the actual leaf springs. Unbolt the shocks. Now I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the leaf springs, or the axle here. So what I'm going to do right now is loosen up these 4 nuts. I'm not going to completely take them off, but I'm going to loosen them up on each side. I'm going to try to do this one side at a time. As far as for the shim, if you guys see, I do have a jack right here that's going to be lifting just this side. Both sides are loose, but I'm going to completely take off this side with the leaf springs. So once I take that off, I'm going to lower it with the middle one, and then I could fully control this side with this jack over here on this. Hopefully that makes some sense, but you guys are going to see what I'm going to be doing. Alright guys, so I have some space down here. If you guys could see, there's some space. So that gets this out of the way as far as for the axle. Now what I need to do is I need to loosen up this nut. So now I need to go ahead and take this nut off. I'm going to put some WD-40 on it because it probably rusted on and it's probably going to be a bit tough. So here is the 2-degree shim that came from factory. You guys can tell right there, 2 degrees. This is the original bolt and nut. It actually wasn't even that tight, but I did have to get some vice grips underneath it in order to get it loosened because it was just spinning. Here is the shim kit I have. There's the part number. This is from DJM. Did come with some new bolts. Here is the shim right here. This is the 4-degree shim. I do have the 6-degree, but like I said, I think that's going to be a bit excessive. Now the way that I could only come up with that they would be installed, first of all, this hole is different than this hole. Even with the bolts supplied, it's just going to go right through it. They did provide some spacers. Now as far as I could come up with on how to install them, to be quite honest, I'm not completely sure how they'll be installed. To the best of my knowledge, I would use this bolt. It would go in the leaf spring itself. I would put the spacer on though. With the spacer on, you'll just install these and then it'll just kind of sit like that. Just kind of sit flush. That's the only thing I could come up with. I don't imagine this moving anywhere or anything like that. Everything's going to be clamped down with the U-bolt. That's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Obviously, you are going to have to cut this bolt. So I'm going to have to find a die for it before I cut it. I don't want to ruin the threads. So if I have the die on it already, after I cut it, I could just easily fix the threads right after that. But let me go ahead and figure this out, and then we'll go on to installing these. Here's the bolts right here. They're all cut, ready to go. Just gotta install them on the leaf spring and then we'll put the shim on. So let's get to it.
Play dead, made that.
Chuki, Peep.
Alright guys, so pretty much this is it for the driver's side. I still got to tighten it up obviously, but I'm still going to do the passenger side, so that's why it's still loose. But you can see where the shim fits in. I don't have a doubt in my mind that it's not going to move, just because I do have that additional spacer on there, and it's not like it's somehow going to hop out. I mean, that was pretty easy, to be quite honest. This is my first time doing it, and this is a very simple install. So let's go ahead and get on to the passenger side and finish this up. So here it is, all finished up. The wheels have been torqued down, everything has been torqued and tightened. Let me go ahead and show you guys how the bump stops and the shims are looking, as well as the axle. If you could see right there, there's the bump stop and there's the axle. That's probably about an inch and a half, inch and a quarter or so about of clearance. Then here's the passenger side bump stop, another inch and a half or so of some clearance. You could see the shim right there in the bottom. So here we are with the 4-degree shim. See, it almost looks straight, but there's still slight of a bend, like I told you, like an A figure, and so it needs to be like a V. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the 6-degree. I didn't think I would have to use a 6-degree, but it seems like we're gonna have to go ahead and do that. I already got the jack here ready to go, and so I'm gonna go ahead and lift this thing on up. Already loosen up the lugs on the wheels, and just real quickly slide in the spacers or the shims, because I already have the bolt in there from the 4-degree shims, and it's basically the same setup in the same box, the same spacer. So I just need to go ahead and swap them out. I got the bolts loosened up here. I got the bolt for the shock already taken out. Here on the other side as well, you can see loosened up, and the bolt is out. So I just need to go ahead and take off one side and put in the 6-degree shim. Here's the shims, there's the part number. These as well are from DJM. So 6-degree, and I believe I'll still have enough thread on those U-bolts, because I already have a good amount of threads on them already. So I'll show you guys the difference from the 4 to the 6, but let me go ahead and get one side off. With the comparison, you got a 4-degree and then you got the 6-degree. See if I can get this right. There's the difference right there. Went from the 4-degree, still wasn't working, and now the 6-degree. Hopefully this should be it. It just needs a little bit more moving, and I think this is going to do the trick. Almost forgot to show you guys, but since I was driving around with the new bump stops, I actually already broke the left one. So I'm gonna try buying some 1-inch bump stops. I'm gonna change them. The passenger side bump stop is still remaining there though, but you could tell it has been hitting. If you guys see, it's kind of dull looking, but go ahead and order that right after I finish this. But let's go ahead and drop the truck down and see how that pinion angle. Alright, already that is looking better. It's slightly at a angle facing up, but at the same time it almost still looks straight. But this is a lot better than what it was previously. Show you guys what it looks like. Try to keep you level. See, there's a slight bend to it, and it goes over here. It's like a two-piece drive shaft. It's kind of hard to get in there with the truck on the ground, but I think you guys see what I mean. So now really I gotta test drive it, see if I feel any more vibrations, but I think this is gonna be it. To be honest, I should probably be measuring it, and I probably will get around to learning how to measure it, or some type of you know, one of those digital angle finders. I might get one of those later on, but I'm pretty sure this is it. I even read on a forum that a guy had to use a 6 degree. People were thinking he's tripping, but he had the same setup. I don't know about the name brand, but he had the lowering and the hangers like I have here. I don't know the name brand, like I said, but that's what I'm using. So go ahead and test it out.
As you had seen it, I did change the pinion angle, did get that corrected. I did change out the bump stops, but the bump stops I got were just simply too long. Now, just take into account it will vary from, I guess, from car to car or from truck to truck, whatever vehicle you may be working on, just because everyone does carry around different type of weight in their vehicle. Even in their cities, they may not have as much potholes as I have, or as bad as potholes as I have. So that was really the issue for me whenever hitting some of these bad potholes in Houston. You know, I would just be smacking, and I have like 3 other people with me, so the weight in the vehicle along with the potholes was just not helping. And that's pretty much how the bump stop from Hotchkiss has broken off. So I still need to change that. There's still a little bit more work I need to do as far as for the suspension on the truck before I call it complete, or just being complete for the meantime, because of course there's going to be some other modifications I want to go into on the suspension. But as far as for the income and the funds on supporting that, you know, there's just certain times in your life where you have it and certain times you don't. So I don't want to stick on it too long, because I do have other projects and other things I need to be taken care of. But of course it will be coming in one of the future videos. Well, I know this video was a bit lengthy, but hopefully you got some good information out of it and gave you a bit of knowledge. Hopefully it leads you in the right direction if you may be having some of the issues that I'm having. But if you guys did like this video, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. You know, let me know how I'm doing. Like I said previously, I do have a new online website with some merchandise available, so if you want to go ahead and click the link down below, or if you just want to type it in into the URL, it is swishlife.store. It'll take you directly to my website, and you guys could go ahead and show me that support. You may want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification, so you are notified whenever I do post. And I do post pretty frequently, so if you guys want to go ahead and be a part of the family, then I do appreciate it, and I welcome you guys. But alright guys, that is going to be the end of this video. I do appreciate you guys that did stay to the end, and I'm going to have to catch you guys on the next one, alright?